Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. She's Gotta Have It, my thoughts. Yeah, now I did previously did the character review, and that was actually longer because I could have, like I said in the last one, Spike Lee, he's really good. He'll be studied as a master one day. He really would, regardless of what somebody think about him personally, because I've studied filmmaking, and just the little nuances that he have in his stuff. But just my overall thoughts. One of the first thoughts I had was regular brothers, in my opinion, weren't represented. That was my first thought, because as I said in the last one, the character of Jamie Overstreet in the original movie, he was a regular dude. He's a regular cat, one of those cats you could see walking down the street. But now he's changed into, this dude with all this money and stuff, high post brother, master of the universe type of brother, right? And I'm not sure why. I mean, even though I liked the character, I was just like, okay. All right. So you have this black woman, outlier black woman, natural, just want to do her thing and want to feel empowered, be on some, and she even said it's some sex positive thing, right? But so she gets three guys. So she gets the high post brother, but then she gets the pretty boy. And then she gets the non-black guy, with the long hair. Because there was even a scene after they had sex, his hair was out. And I'm just like, wow, that's like a collective black woman's like fantasies right there. That's a select group. I was just like, wow, Because even though she was open, it was like, but open only to select. I was just like, thank you, Spike. You made my argument for me. Like, peep that. Peep that. I'm just like, wow. Blue collar brother or something might have been a type of supporter and get all that stuff going on. Probably gave as much money as, or been as willing to support her as the other guys were. And I'm just like, okay. And that's an interesting dynamic. And that's sometimes some of the women you think would just give a regular guy a chance, still won't. And I even seen that with open women, right? So that was interesting. That was interesting. Then, and like I said, I'm giving spoilers. There was a scene where she bought a black dress that made her look, sexy. She had nice legs and stuff, but I was still like, you don't got that badunk. But for everybody else, she looked sexy, right? And she couldn't really afford it, but then it's funny. She's doing this dress. A dress, it was a definite magnet thing, definitely going to draw men's attention. But she got mad at every one of her men for commenting on the dress or, going crazy over it. There was a scene where Jamie Overstreet took her to this this serious restaurant, like no joke type of restaurant. That joint was on a boat. It's like, man. But he was kind of embarrassed by her dress. He was turned on by it, but he was embarrassed by it at the time. So she got mad at him. And then, she saw Greer and he wanted to take pictures of her in the dress and he was going on and on about it. But she got mad because he was really liking the pictures and everything. And then got mad at, she went out to this little hood type of club with Mars. And then when this dude approached her and stuff and, they about to fight this dude because he coming on to her because she got the black dress. Then Mars said, hey, that dress drawing people. She getting mad. And I thought that was interesting. Because especially in this time where, you have women complaining about sexual harassment and all of that and the slut culture thing. But you got it's a law of nature. If a woman wear a sexy dress, a man gonna look. That's what we do. You got women getting mad at men for doing that. I'm like, as long as he don't put his hand on you, we gonna look. We supposed to look. That's how all of us got here Every single woman who complains about something like that, remember, their fathers, whether they know them or not, saw their mothers and liked how they looked. That's how your ass is here. That's why sometimes it's stupid. Like in that situation, I know this is going off on a tangent, but to me, women get mad if a man just look at them. I mean, don't get mad. All you can ask him to do is not get in your space if you're not feeling him, and not to touch you. Because pretty soon they're going to try to criminalize that, and then they're going to go too far. Because on the other hand, and this is something I peeped years ago when I was on this job. This woman, this young girl, right? She was wearing this red dress, looking all good and everything, but got mad when everybody said something to her, except the dude who she wanted to say something. She actually got mad that he didn't say anything because he was like looking at it. It was like, nah, she got to be more modest for me. And this was like one of those thorough type of brothers, too. He was just like, I ain't mess with her. Wearing that dress in here. It turned him off, but everybody else on. But I think that was represented. It was like, okay, you kind of confused. And plus, there was something in that same episode that that happened that, set a theme for it. I don't want to spoil that one. But it plays a big part. But one thing that struck me about the character Nola Darling, she didn't seem too concerned about the consequences of her actions. And I think that was part of the story, her growing up. She was very much a little girl. There was even one point she left her key somewhere, couldn't get in her own place. And then had to walk around with a key around her neck. A grown, an adult woman, or at least physically adult woman, walking around with a key on her neck. I'm just like, okay. But you know what? That was part of the story. You can give that. And, a lot of it just seemed to be an ode to, well, I'll say it's slut culture. Yeah, it'd get mad, flag me, but let's just be real. That's the thing of, oh, yeah, I can walk around, I can have sex with whoever. That's cool. If you want to take accountability for the consequences of the actions. See, that's the biggest problem, accountability. If you want to do whatever, but don't get mad if you get attention from a man you don't want. Don't get mad if that man does not see you as a viable human being. If you present yourself some way, that's how the man going to treat you. And I'm going to go off on a tangent again. That's why, you deal with, like you got some sisters in the community, right? And they got, they wearing their thought gear and all this, short dresses, tight clothes and all of that. Then get mad when a man doesn't care about their brains. I'm like, that's what you present. But then I've seen other sisters like I've seen this with a lot of Muslim sisters, black Muslim sisters in the community. They always present, they present themselves in such a way you have to deal with their face. Like I know this one Muslim sister I met years ago, and she actually married to someone who's I'll just say he's been on TV. But when I met her, even though she was very attractive, had a nice body and everything, because of how she presented herself, I didn't think immediately about her body. And yeah, I noticed because, well, I'm a man, I look, but at the same time, the way she was presenting herself, you dealing with her another way. And in fact, I'll just say the dude that she ended up marrying and having a baby by. Because I actually saw this dude. He was on a reality show. And I'll leave it at that. He was on a reality show. And they did a segment on him. And, he was meeting his wife. I was like, damn. Oh, snap. That's her. I knew she'd marry somebody high post like that. But that was how she carried herself. But see, that was one thing in she's got to have it. It's like she's just going along and can't figure out, well, why is this shit happening to her? Right? And then, they had some little nuances. Like, he made a lot of commentary about gentrification. Whole lot of commentary. Like, made a comment, one episode did something about showing, like, the character's reaction to Trump getting elected. Because apparently all of this takes place over a couple years, right? It's seemingly. It's hard to get a timestamp. That's the only thing he put in there that was a definite timestamp. Because it could have happened any time. But, the commentary about gentrification and all of that. And then, there was actually one one couple that he had in there, it was a white man who was acting black. And he was talking about Nation Time. And then he was married, or at least had a child with one of those black power type of sisters. Yeah. Which, oh man, we could do a whole thing on that. Because you get a lot of women on that feminist black power type of thing. And then, you see their husband is some white guy who telling you how black he is. And I was just like, somebody hit the fuck out this motherfucker. I was hoping Mars hit him. Because like I said in the last one, Mars, the character, he was an interesting character, right? And, also, too, what I found to be interesting was there was a lot of references to Yoruba traditional religion, African traditional religion, Orishas, Ifa, because Mars is Puerto Rican. His sister was a Yoruba priestess. And you actually had several scenes in there where she's doing readings, she's doing spiritual baths they doing some rituals. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. That is especially interesting because a lot of times in any of these shows, especially unless it's like a Tyler Perry movie where he's very blatant about, his Christian walk and the Christian themes, because his movies are basically Christian plays on celluloid, right? You don't see much about like spiritual beliefs, and especially like when you're talking about Orishas and everything like that. And if you really follow her, because that was her world. That was her world. She was very much that bohemian type of sister, that non-traditional religion type of sister. And when I say non-traditional, like an Abrahamic religion, because usually there's an assumption that the characters might be black. So, Christian, but no, obviously not sitting through it, right? And it was she had a little bit of a difference with her father on that one, right? But that was an interesting thing. Overall, I'd recommend seeing it. That's why I'm not giving y'all too much. I want y'all to see it because it was a good story. I think, and that's the main thing about it. It was a good story. It had some entertaining parts, had plenty of sex, but it had a point. There was a few story questions that weren't answered, in my opinion, but you never know if that was an edit issue or whatever, which, but they were minor, to be honest with you. They were very minor. But it was very, very good. I highly recommend it. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad people recommended it to me, even though I was going to watch it anyway. But I'm glad a lot of people hit me up. But definitely check it out. You got Netflix. You got a few evenings or an evening to sit down and watch it. Check it out. Check it out. So anyway, that's it for this one. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.